That's Frosty. You kind of like him, huh? Takes him by the nose. This is what he does every single year. Oh, it's become a Christmas tradition. Oh, by the way, welcome to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I will be your host. This is my lovely co-host, Tiny R, and this is Frosty, also known as One-Eyed Frosty. This was a gift from a viewer, a very special gift, because actually all the gifts that we receive are special gifts because they're from the heart. They're not just things that folks want to give just out of the blue. They actually put a lot of thought behind them, and I really do appreciate that. This Christmas we were overloaded. We had a whole dining table filled with Christmas cards, and little R had presents under the tree, courtesy of you. Courtesy of you, and I didn't ask for anything. He didn't ask for anything. It was just something that people do, and I wanted to extend my thanks to you for that. Thank you very much. This is a perennial favorite. This is Frosty. Frosty only has one eye because little R saw fit to remove one of his eyes, and after that everything was fine. He could not stand this thing having more than one eye, so he removed it. And every Christmas when we open up the box of Christmas decorations to decorate the tree, little One-Eyed Frosty comes out, and Rascal grabs him by the nose, takes him from my hand, lays down, and reacquaints himself with the smell of frosting. Same thing with little Christmas Fox. He loves Christmas Fox. Yes, he does. And he'll lay down with that and chew on it for hours upstairs. He's a little bit preoccupied with the smell of mice and insects down here, but he loves his little toys. If you take him, he'll politely take it out of your hand, take it right back to where it belongs, because he's got this OCD thing. His toys have to go one place and one place only. But I did want to extend my thanks to everybody who offers up these incredible gifts to little R. We have an entire table filled with Christmas cards from this last Christmas, and there were gifts underneath the tree. And then on my last program upstairs, I had decorated the tree with two of his gifts, the Abominable Snowman, and also known as Bumble from the claymation cartoon, and also a red sock monkey instead of a star on the top of the tree. Rascal donated those to the tree, and the two folks who donated that, they noticed that and they brought it to my attention. And I did want to thank you all, because a lot of the things that you send me, and I'm doing this for some reason, because a lot of these, like I've mentioned before, are gifts from you and ideas from you. So a lot of my Voodoo Garden has become more incorporated. It's not just a program of me showing you stuff and doing stuff. It's more of a sharing thing, because you're getting more and more involved as time goes on, and I really do like that. I like the way that this is going. Same thing happens with the Praxis 55712 channel. People are getting more and more involved in that, and I do appreciate that. I wanted to get to your questions, and I want to do a demonstration for you. I did promise in the last episode I was going to get to the questions and answers, because you do have questions and you do want answers for those, and so I'm not going to ramble. Well, I'm going to ramble. If I didn't ramble, there would be no Ray. But I will get to your questions right now, and then I'm going to do a demonstration for you, because it's something that's timely. It's right after the holiday season, and I want to show you what I do with it, okay? First question is going to be from Jennifer. Good morning, Jennifer. Jennifer says, I raise rabbits, and I've heard their poop, that's a nice word, their poop is like the motherlode of composts. Problem I'm having is the mixture is a mess of wet hay mixed into their waste, and I've tried separating it by sifting through a grate system. Wow, that was a huge effort with very little to show for it. I need a better way, one that doesn't break my back. Background. I have no compost experience at all. What can I do to get usable material and take advantage of this gold mine? Oh, that was something I read before I went on, because when I was copying it, I thought, you know what, I do need to think about this, because I'm not experienced in rabbits, but I do know a little bit about rabbits, and a lot of my viewers know more about rabbits than I could ever know. So I want to just give you my view and invite the other viewers, those of you who know about rabbits, to chime in, because this is a community thing, like I just said. My take on the rabbit poo situation is that a lot of people that raise rabbits will raise them in hutches, and they put hay underneath it, and the rabbits poop. Well, the rabbit poop looks like Cocoa Puffs. I know that's a weird way of putting it, but that's the best way I can explain it. Little round, tiny dots, and they're the size of Cocoa Puffs or Trix or any other kind of round cereal that you had as a kid. And the thing about rabbit poop, which is really nice, is that you can use it directly into your soil without having to compost it. Yeah, chicken manure and cow manure and other kinds of manures, a lot of manures you have to compost because they're too rich and too strong and they will burn the roots of your plants. So you have to compost them. I'm experienced with chicken manure. You definitely have to compost that. I learned my lesson. You put that into the ground without composting it and the chances are it's going to kill your plant faster than snot. Okay, so the thing about rabbit poop is that you don't have to compost it. So that's the cool thing. Well, the problem Jennifer's running into is that she has rabbit poop stuck to the hay. And I thought about that, and screening it, with a screen is a good idea, but the problem she's running into is it's wet hay with wet poop. My suggestion would be, if it's possible, if you have the room, and it doesn't take a lot of room, lay this hay out either on a tarp or somewhere outside or somewhere where it's going to dry. Dry this off. Okay, and the poop and the hay will dry. The hay will stiffen up because when hay gets wet, it gets really bendy. Okay, and it's going to stick to the rabbit poop and be more of a mush. If you let it dry, and I've done this with chicken poop, okay, so I'm hoping this will work with rabbit poop. Let it dry and then rub it over the screen. The manure should crumble off and go through the screen a lot easier, and the hay, remaining stiff, will stay on top of the screen. Toss the hay away or toss it back into the cage to gather more manure, or you can set the hay aside and let it start piling up because what little manure is left on there will help it compost down naturally. It may take a year or so, but I don't know what else you're going to do with it. See, you said you didn't compost. So that's my suggestion. If those of you out there who know about rabbits have a better suggestion, I more than welcome it, because what I'm about is getting the people their answers as best as I can. This little brain of mine doesn't hold a lot of information, so if you have a better answer, please feel free to post it. I am not offended at all, okay? I want to get your input on this. Next one, Kathy. Good morning, Kathy. I have fungus gnats. Oh, this is not a good start. Okay. Here we go. I have fungus gnats because I brought the wrong soil for indoors. Now I have 2 plants that I used with that soil. So my question is, how do I fix it? Do I have to replant them? My tropical hibiscus and avocado plant, will they go into shock? Well, in all honesty, Kathy, I would repot them. And chances are your plants aren't going to go into shock. If you take it gentle and you do it step by step the way I'm going to tell you, I don't think you're going to have a problem at all. You can treat the soil for fungus gnats, but it's a lot easier if you only have 2 plants and you recently potted them to hurry up and get rid of that soil. Get it out of your house, okay? Take the plants, gently take them outside if it's not too cold, or if it's inside, do this into a container, gently turn them over, get the soil out, hold on to the plant and shake it, vibrate it with your hands and get the dirt off the roots. Then put them into a bucket of room temperature water. That'll keep the roots moist and that will lessen the shock, okay? That will almost guarantee they're not going to go into shock. Put them in there. That will clear off any of the soil that's on the roots. There you have a secure plant. Okay, take that soil, get it out of the house. You're going to have regular soil that you bought that does not have fungus gnats ready to go. Take that, put them in the pots. Now if your pots have any soil in them, rinse them off really quick, then get them back over there. Put the soil in there and then replant your bare root plants. And then water them gently, set them aside, not in bright light. Set them in diffused light or shade for a few days, about 2 to 3 days. Not darkness, but diffused light for 2 to 3 days. That will give them time to acclimate to the change that you put them through, and it'll lessen the shock. Chances are your plants aren't going to grow for a little while they adjust to it. That's going to be normal, so don't worry about that, okay? Everything's going to be just fine. All right, I hope that helps. Next one, JP. What do you do for spider mites? They are a constant problem for me. JP, spider mites were a big problem for me. I think it was back in 2012 or maybe it was 2013. I'm not quite sure which. I had what was called the Great Spider Mite Invasion, and oh, that was sad. That was sad. I had so many beautiful, this was back when I lived in Minnesota, and I had so many beautiful plants, and spider mites can float on a breeze. So, and they can also come in on your clothes. They can come in any number of ways, on plants that you buy, soil that you get, eggs that are in the soil. There's a million different ways these things can get in, so don't blame yourself. Don't feel bad and wonder, what did I do wrong? it's usually something you didn't do. Okay, so anyway, back to the spider mites. I use pyrethrin spray. You can get pyrethrin spray pre-mixed at any garden center in any store, or you can buy pure pyrethrin and then mix it yourself. It's cheaper that way and you get more. Okay, it's not cheaper, but it's cheaper per use. Okay, and if you plan on using a lot, that's the way to go. So look online for pyrethrin. Okay, or go to your local store if you want it sooner. And then what you do with your plants is you mist them. You take them in a spray bottle. Normally that spray bottle will mist the stuff out. That's what you want. You don't want a hard spray, you know, like a 409 sprayer. You want to just gently mist the entire plant, top of the leaves, bottom of the leaves. Okay, yeah, spider mites generally go underneath the leaves, but every now and then you'll have one crawling across the top. You don't want to just do the bottom of the leaves, and generally that's where they're located, is underneath the leaves. Mist the top, take the leaves, mist the bottoms from top to bottom, the stem and the top of the soil. Don't saturate, you know, or pour it on. All you need to do is mist it. It's harmless to your plants, and it is a kill on contact insecticide that is a natural product. Okay, it's not a harsh chemical or anything, and it won't hurt your plants. And the thing about pyrethrin is you make sure that you get every square inch. There we go. Make sure you get every square inch of that plant, because if there's just a little bit that's left unsprayed, that spider mite can live off of that, and it doesn't leave a residual. So it's not like it's going to protect your plant for weeks and weeks and weeks. Spray your plant. Check it a couple weeks from then, and if you see any spider mites, do it again. Chances are you won't if you did it right. Okay. I still got Christmas monkey. Oh, Christmas fox. That's really good. Okay. Thanks for your question, by the way. Next one is from Ev. It's Evie. I don't know if it's Eve, Ev. Anyway, Ev asks, we have been under a boil water advisory for some time. Now, do I have to boil the water for my plants? That's a good question. That's actually a very good question. It depends on why you have to boil your water. I don't know why you're boiling your water. Generally, some municipalities will have an issue with their water, like with bacteria or something in their water, and they say, boil your water. And that is because they don't want you to get sick. Now, those bacteria that are in the water, bacteria, protozoas, parameciums, all those weird things, those are harmless to your plant. They don't harm your plant at all. In fact, they're probably going to live in your soil just fine. Okay, so don't worry about boiling your water. If it's some kind of weird chemical thing, you know, I don't know, like a Roundup, I would definitely do what they tell you to do. But generally, the reason that you have to boil your water is because of bacteria, and you don't have to boil your water for your plants. Next one is from Chitra? Anyway, Chitra, I'll say Chitra. Chitra, what are you looking at? There is nothing in this room. Anyway, Chitra, I save the banana peels, eggshells, and coffee and tea waste. I dry them in the winter and make powder like you made. I use that for outdoor gardening. Can I use it for indoor gardening too? Okay, banana peels. That's the thing I had the issue with. Eggshells, you can take eggshells and microwave them or bake them or steam them to get the raw egg cooked, because raw egg can really be an issue. Okay, you take the eggshells, you can grind them up into powder in a little food processor, coffee grinder, or just grind them up by hand, old school. Coffee grounds. Used coffee grounds and used tea grounds and tea leaves are fine for soil. I wouldn't mix them in with your soil. I would sprinkle them on top of your soil. Okay? Now, they have nitrogen in them, but if you mix them in with your soil, they will start breaking down, and that will take nitrogen out of your soil temporarily while they break down. What are you doing? Is there something under there? I don't know, maybe it's a mouse. I have no idea. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. The banana peels, if you chop them up and stuff, they do give a potassium and all this wonderful stuff and minerals, but I think if you mix it with your soil, it's going to probably remove some of that nitrogen. So I really don't know about mixing it in with your soil. On top, yes, or if you want to put that kind of stuff in with your potting mix or your soil that you set aside and mix it up, it'll have time to break down before you actually plant your plants in it. Okay, that would be my take on it. Mr. Vivarium. That was an original name. How do you get the blood banana to grow so good? Mine is 1.5 years old and very small. Well, the blood banana, by the way, is right here, also known as Zebrina banana. The care that I give it is I give it bright diffused light, and that's what this is considered, bright diffused light. I don't give it full sun. It didn't seem to do very good in full sun for me. Outside they will grow well in full sun, but this is indoors and it's limited in its root structure. So I give it bright diffused light. I give it rich, well-drained soil, which means I have potting mix that I mix with worm castings and some vermiculite. That makes it well-drained. I give it the compost tea. That's going to feed it naturally and feed the soil and keep the soil alive. That, I think, is what does really well for my plant. And as you notice, this plant is starting to grow. Come here and take a look at this really quick. I want to give you an update on this. Come here and take a look at this. This is the banana plant I cut down on the last episode, and in just that short amount of time this has started to get a little bit white on top, and that's just fungus or something like that, the sweet sap molding away, and that's harmless. Now we got this coming through a section, then another section, and they look all burnt on the top. That's how it always looks when I cut it, and I've done this a few times. And it'll do this for a few sections, and then all of a sudden a leaf will come out the top. It'll be a smaller leaf, but then it'll get bigger and bigger, and this will expand down here, and these outer sections, see, this was green before, they'll start turning yellow and then brown and die off as the center part expands, and eventually it'll be a big fat stinking green stem again. But that's how the banana goes. But with the care that I mentioned, I don't think that you're going to have a problem. So check what you're doing for it. There's something that's going on either with your soil, your water, your light. Something is keeping it down. And since I don't know how you care for it, I really can't comment on that. But if you follow the directions I gave you, I don't think you're going to have a problem with it growing. I think you're going to have a problem with it not, I mean, growing a little bit too tall. I wish I could have aimed the camera down a little bit lower. Rascal's been pulling up the rug, you can see over here. He just takes his little paws and he pulls up the rug, and he's finding beetles that are hiding underneath the rug, and he grabs them and shakes them and flips them over, and they leave a horrible taste in his mouth. So he's having fun. He's bored. So when you're bored, you might as well start chewing on the beetles. Anyway, I hope your banana tree grows better for you. I hope you find the issue with it, and I hope it starts growing better. Next question is from Evelyn. Oh, this is from Evelyn, Jock, Pears Plants. Actually, there's a bunch of people, and I wanted to list as many names as I could. But this is a question, if you look through the comment section in the last few episodes, this is a question that was asked quite a few times, and I wanted to address this because it is something that you wanted to know. They ask if I would want to sell my compost and the dried powdered stuff that I've been making. And I thought about that. And I talked to Mike the dishwasher. I talked to my mom. Yeah, I did. I talked to my mom about this. I talked to Mike the dishwasher about it. And I sat and I considered it. And the most honest answer I can give you is I will give it serious consideration. Okay? One of the things that I've tried to avoid is being a businessman, because I used to be a businessman before I retired. Yeah, I was a businessman, and that was fun, and I never thought I'd be doing that again. So when I thought about it, I thought, well, first you got to understand, if I did something like this, it wouldn't just be like a couple little bags here and there, because I have a huge subscriber base, and I love it. I love having the huge subscriber base. There are so many people that tune in and join me here, but when I offer something, it's something that is offered to everybody. I don't discriminate, and I don't just pick and choose. I would offer it to everybody. So if I offered this product to people and I wanted to go into business, this is something that would be a big endeavor for me. And I would have to, one, make sure that I can produce a consistent quality product. Because one of the things that I have as my mainstay, my focal point, my anchor, here on this channel and the other channel is I do not recommend anything to anybody that I would not use myself, and I would not trust with my plants, my animals, myself, my farm. And there have been a lot of manufacturers and a lot of salesmen that have come knocking on my door, and they want me to endorse their product. They want me to try their product. I'm not kidding. Hold on. See? Product. Yeah. These things were sent to me. I have a lot of things. There's one thing upstairs, and there's these. I want to go with these first. These are clips that a company sent me, and they said you clip your tomato plants to the to your tomato stakes or whatever it is with it. They said if you would use these and tell your subscribers about these. And I thought about it, and I examined the product. I opened the package, I examined the product, I looked online, and I saw the price, and I considered it. And then I thought, nope, I don't feel comfortable doing that, because the price was a little high as far as I'm concerned, because with me, I just take a little string and do it, and that's free. Some people take twist ties off their bread, and they'll use those. People have different methods of doing that, and my view, this is just my take, okay? My take was I didn't feel comfortable advertising a product that people would spend their hard-earned money on that they really didn't need, okay? That is a product that could be useful if you're just so darn lazy you can't tie something up yourself. So I didn't feel comfortable with that. Another company, they sent me this huge light fixture. Yeah, they did. I have it in a box upstairs. And it was this big thing with a reflector on the top, and it has this sodium something or other, salt and pepper light. I don't know, it has some kind of big light on it, and they said try this out on your plants. And I had problems with the product, and I didn't feel comfortable promoting that. I had a fertilizer maker, a gardener, who wanted me, yeah, you remember that, wanted me to endorse the product, and I refused to endorse it, and I really got beat up for that. That person and their spouse, they really bashed me bad. So I kind of shied away. That's why you haven't seen me endorsing products. There are other gardeners who will do it at the drop of a hat because they get paid, they get free products, and they ally themselves with things, and I have resisted that. Because it's not so much about the money, it's about the integrity. And I have integrity, and I value that more than I value the money. And we're getting back to the compost. I'm trying it out for myself because I want to use it myself. That's the only reason I did it. And I didn't do it with the intention of selling it. Now, I'm testing it on my plants to see if it would work good in here, because I know it works good outside. So far, so good. The actual results are phenomenal. They're doing amazing. And I'm very happy with that. If I can continue to have good results with that, I would feel comfortable endorsing that and possibly offering that up. I would do it, you know, and it's a lot of work. I have to rake out my chicken coop. I have to make a monstrous compost pile. I got to mow my lawn. Because that's how I make my compost. I would have to mow my lawn, catch the clippings, which I normally don't do, add that to the compost pile, and in the fall get leaves, grind them up, and put that into the compost pile, and make a very well balanced product that I would feel proud to offer. And then I make the compost, I finish it off. That's a lot of work. You know that's a lot of work, especially for the volume I would have to make. And I mean huge piles of this stuff. It's a lot of work. Make the compost and then cook the compost, because I wouldn't take untreated compost and send it to you, because it could infect your plants, you know, because even though I have good compost, it has bugs and stuff like that in it. So I would have to dry it, cook it, grind it, bag it, package it, find envelopes, and all this fun stuff. There's a lot of things involved in it, but I will consider it, okay? And I may do it. And if I do, I would be proud to do that and offer it. But it has to meet my specifications. And I don't want to pat myself on the back or boast, but I do have high standards when it comes to what I'm willing to promote to my viewer base. I value you so much. You're not a customer, you're friends, and I would not, shaft my friends just to make a few bucks. Not going to do it. No. Okay, so anyway, that's my answer to your question. I hope that you guys can respect that. And if I do offer it, it's going to be something I'm going to be very proud to do. Okay, anyway, next one. Nicole, Ray, have you ever thought about selling your plants? Oh, here we go again. That you don't want anymore instead of throwing them away? Well, there's a quick answer to that. I don't really throw them away. I put them either in the compost pile or I toss them outside, and they go back into nature. I know that sounds really, really weird and hippie style, but I believe that if I don't need something, it's not wasted. It's going back into nature, and it's fertilizing the ground. It's feeding animals. It's being recycled And so there really is no waste there. So I don't feel bad about not making any kind of money off of it. And as far as selling plants, you'd have to ship them. And I don't want to ship plants. I just flat out won't do that because that's just really hard to do, you know? And so, no, I don't ship live plants. Okay, next one is from Arlene. We only got a couple left. Arlene asked, oh, by the way, hi Arlene. If I don't have a compost pile this year, could I use manure? Yes, you can, but as I mentioned earlier, most manures, well, many manures have to be composted or aged. You either compost it, which means pile it up with other stuff and let it heat up and cook and break down, and then it turns mild to where you can use it. Or you can just let it set outside. Let it set outside a safe time. There are different people have different ways of thinking about it. My way is let it set outside for a year, okay? You can even cover it. Let it set outside for 365 days, safe to use. And then you can mix it in with your soil, everything's fine. All right, Mark, hi Mark, says, hi Ray, hey, hi Mark. Love your vids. I was wondering if you ever had your dragon fruit plants produce fruit. No, Mark, I have not. My dragon fruit plants produce nothing but dragon fruit plants. And the more I tried, the more they produce dragon fruit plants. I tried to get them to produce fruit. And one viewer actually mentioned, Ray, you're never going to get fruit. You don't have a strong enough light. You don't have the conditions inside. I didn't want to believe that, but you know what? Reality has a way of reminding us that, you know, we have to believe some things, even if we don't want to. And I became comfortable with that answer. I thought, you know what, I'm never going to get dragon fruit in here. I just don't have the light. You know, there are certain things I can do and there are certain things I cannot do. I could plant it outside and get fruit, but I don't believe I'm going to get it inside. So no. As a matter of fact, I don't have the dragon fruit plant anymore because I had to make room for other stuff. So I tossed it outside, and if it wants to grow outside, it can grow outside. If it wants to just decompose and feed the worms, so be it. That's what nature wants. Last question is from Abby. Hey Abby. I use water from my fish tanks that has all the fishy poop. Actually, she put fishy pop. It has all the fishy poop. Would I need to have a fertilizer as well, or is my fishy water good enough? Now, Arlene, that's a question that many people answer differently. And I have had aquariums, and I've used it for plants. It did okay for the plants, but they really wanted a little bit more than my fish poop water could offer. Some folks have mentioned, and they stand by it. They say, hey, all I use is fish water and it works like a charm. Some people say they use fish water and it really isn't that great. So people go on both sides of the fence. My take on it is you probably can use that for standard water, and once in a blue moon, once in a while, if your plants are looking a little bit slow or a little bit anorexic, give them a little fertilizer, fine. That's all it takes. Okay, that takes care of the Q&A and the weird products. And I wanted to do a really quick demo because this is right after the holiday season. By the way, Happy New Year. 2016 has been a fantastic year for little R and I. And I wanted to wish you all the best in 2017. Best growing season ever, I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. One of the things that normally goes into the trash can or compost pile right after Christmas is our poinsettia. Christmas trees and poinsettias go by the wayside. You know, you can take your Christmas tree, and if you have a yard with snow on it and nothing nearby, okay, nothing nearby, trust me, okay, take my word for this. You can actually drag your Christmas tree outside into the middle of a snowy yard and torch that baby. Yep, Christmas trees are incredibly flammable, and I know this from first-hand experience. I have a sad experience with a Christmas tree. Those of you who have tuned into the Praxis channel, you know my experience with a Christmas tree. It was really bad. But yes, they will burn, and you can use those ashes for your garden, all right? Or you can just toss it to the curb, and a lot of cities will actually take those in. They'll take them for you, and they grind them up, and they make compost, and they give the compost away, or they sell it cheap. That would probably be your best bet, is to just give it to the city, let them do what they want with it. But as far as poinsettias, ooh, pretty, huh? Yeah, they are. I got this for $2 at Walmart. Yep, and this wasn't even on sale. But poinsettias are something that a lot of people will have in their house around the holidays. And one misconception about poinsettias is that this is a flower. This red part? No. This red part is just leaves. These are all leaves. The flowers look nothing like this, okay? So let's get that straight. What they do, and I used to own an indoor foliage plant store, so I would shop at the wholesale nurseries, and oh boy, that is heaven for gardeners like me. Acres and acres of indoor greenhouses with plants. Like when you see a plant like this, you'll see 10,000 of them. And then you'll see 1,000 of these. And it's just great. And you pick and choose whichever ones you want. And you buy them at wholesale prices. It's great. But anyway, when it came to the holiday season, they would take these and they would decrease the amount of daylight. They would darken the greenhouses. They would put this covering over it. And they would darken the greenhouses for certain hours of the day. And what that causes is for the leaves to turn red. You know, let's think of it as like in autumn. When the daylight gets shorter and the temperatures get cooler, the leaves turn red and stuff. These leaves are turning red. Yeah, there's little clusters that look like flower buds, but those aren't flower buds, okay? Now, we decorate our houses with these, and what you are supposed to water them because, you know, they are in soil. And then after the Christmas season, these will make a beautiful house plant. Get rid of the red, they no longer look Christmassy, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So if you have a leftover poinsettia, grab it, pull up to the screen, and we'll do this together, okay? Poinsettias generally come with this tacky foil around the outside to make them look pretty, but underneath it's nothing more than a potted plant. So let's not think of it as a Christmas decoration. Let's start thinking of it as a house plant. And the reason I'm doing this is because if we prune off these red leaves, that will allow light to get underneath here to these green leaves, and this plant will start putting out new shoots and new green leaves, not red leaves, green leaves. If you put them in your grow room or put them by a window, it'll start growing, and by next Christmas this plant can be about 4, 5, 6 times as big as this. So for the price of a $2, and then you can let the leaves get red if you want by putting it in a closet for so many hours a day and turn it red, or you can just have it as a green plant year round. Poinsettias make a great plant. Now what I do is I go down, see the little buds here? Yep. I go down below the cluster, and right below the red leaves, I snip it off. Just like that. Now see that white sap? Don't get that on your hand. That's disgusting. And by the way, poinsettias do have a little bit of a toxic thing to them. So, you know, don't shove this in your mouth. Let's not be stupid and shove poinsettia parts in our mouth. And yes, they are dangerous to plants, to animals. This plant you do not want to be cramming down your dog's throat. So I know. I get reminded so many times, that's poisonous to dogs, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll try not to put this in Rascal's food bowl. But yes, I understand. It's all well-intentioned advice, but I have a weird sense of humor. So you got to understand that about me. I don't normally use it in my programs, but yes, I usually say things like that. Well, I'll try not to shove it in my mouth. Okay, we got all that off. Oh, here's a new one down here. You don't want anything red. Anything red, snip off. All right? That's just it. See, the red will never turn green. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip the red off and allow the green to come back. Now, if this is a big plant in a smaller pot, you can transplant it just like any other plant that you would transplant. Do that at this time. Set it in a well-lit but not sunny, not too sunny location for maybe a few days and let it acclimate. Now, don't worry about this sap. It's going to dry off. And that's all there is to it. This will sit here for a while, and some of these leaves will slowly die, but you're going to notice, just like any other plant, think of it as a pepper plant. You're going to see little buds start forming on here, and eventually it's going to start growing. We're going to watch the progress of this little booger. Now, by the way, the soil that they use for this is just like any other plant that you get. It's more than likely some kind of a cheap potting mix, and they've jacked it full of fertilizers to keep it alive. In time, this will bleach out, you know, the fertilizers will run out, and this plant is going to slowly start getting more spindly. But before then, I'm going to transplant it. For now, it doesn't need to be transplanted because the root system is really not that extensive right now. So not a big deal. I'm going to just let this set in the pot, and I'll transplant it in a few days. Probably by the next episode, you'll see this in a new pot, and it'll be all set to go and grow. All that we survey, we own. We're having a good day here in the Voodoo Garden. Yes, we are. Actually, it's time to go feed the goats. It's early in the morning. I started this before the sun came up because I had nothing else to do. I thought, well, you know what? It's dark outside. I can't do anything outside. I might as well film something in the voodoo garden. So I think the sun just came up. We got to go feed the animals, but thank you for joining us in the voodoo garden. I hope you learned something. I hope you had a good time. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to post them in the comment section below, and I will answer your questions in the next episode. All right, ready to go? Yep, this is Ray, Tiny R, in the voodoo garden. We're out of here. Let's go, baby dog.